All right. Okay. Let's talk about this 5G thing. All right. Let's talk about 5G. Cuz people will tell you 5G is harmless, right? Nothing to worry about. They like to disprove this 5G conspiracy against coronavirus by going back to some doctor who said it and then they would criticize them saying they didn't account for human skin and things of that nature, right? Uh 5G is indeed harmless. And by the way, make sure y'all watch this video to the end. Okay? Make sure we watch this video to the end because we really want to get to the bottom of this. We're going to really break this down. We're going to get to the truth. We're going to get to the truth in this video. So, 5G radiation, is it harmless? No. No. And to believe that it is harmless is actually what makes it more harmful. It's similar to when I be telling people about eating meat, right? I tell people that the real danger in eating meat is not the meat itself. It's not like eating meat is like drinking bleach, for crying out loud. It's that people not only believe it's harmless, but they believe that they actually need it. Because they push this people believe you can only get protein from meat and you got to eat it, and they push this high protein diets, and that's how you lose weight and all that. And they never tell people with diabetes to actually scale back on the protein because it's fucking up their kidneys. They don't do that. So for similar reasons, I say 5G is far from harmless because people don't understand the harm from it. Yes, we know it's non-ionizing radiation. Non-ionizing radiation can still be harmful. They didn't tell you not to stand in front of the microwave for no reason, especially if you're pregnant with a child or you're an actual child, because radiation is more damaging to children than adults. These are facts. There's not even nothing to argue about as far as this 5G is harmful or not. So we have to get that understood. Okay? And yes, 5G does disturb oxygen molecules around you and all of that. And this is where this is all coming from, because at that point it has you with more free radicals in your body, and this is how cancers is produced and things like that. So now the question becomes, now we know that 5G is not harmless. So now the question becomes, is 5G the actual coronavirus? Is the damaging effects from 5G being mislabeled, purposefully or not, as the COVID-19 coronavirus? That's what we want to get to the bottom of. So let's talk about these damaging effects from 5G and what could potentially happen. One of the possible things that happen from excessive radiation exposure, such as from 5G, is you could develop a type of cancer called glioma. That's one of the things. The reason why I'm bringing this specific cancer up is because oftentimes the symptoms for that cancer are very similar to symptoms of the COVID-19 coronavirus. When we're talking about fucked up coughs and fevers and things of that nature. And this glioma cancer, and is a virus called encephalitis. These two have been misdiagnosed as each other in the past before. Encephalitis also has similar symptoms. COVID-19 is the newest one on the scene. So all three of these share very similar symptoms. So one can say, see, it's possible for these to be misdiagnosed. But the thing is, most of you don't even know that. I'm giving y'all alley-oops, but most people don't even know that. Okay? So here's the thing. We now find ourselves that we should now establish that if we're going to say 5G is the coronavirus, we would also be saying 5G is giving people glioma, and that's what everybody's dying from, not the COVID-19 hoax. So, how can we prove or disprove if this is true or not? If we know that they are very similar illnesses in terms of symptoms, and it's not like we could test viruses ourselves and things like that, and sometimes that's just not good enough for people, so we got to take it an extra step further. So now this is the question. We know what? We know those with the COVID-19 virus, on average, they die in a few weeks. Okay? On average, they die in a few weeks after symptoms. When we talk about glioma, it takes quite a bit longer than a few weeks to die from. Try about a year, year and a half. Try about a year, year and a half. So we have a cancer, glioma, that takes about a year and a half before you actually die after you realize you're diagnosed with it, which you usually wouldn't find out if you're diagnosed with it or not unless you actually had symptoms. Then we have to ask, when did these 5G towers start being erected? Let's stick over here in America. If I'm not mistaken, 5G towers ain't started popping up willy-nilly till last summer of 2019. Even if we were to say, as soon as they put the 5G tower up, we started catching glioma from day one, which is crazy because you got to be exposed to 5G radiation chronically and excessively for this to happen. But let's still throw that out the way and let's just say, yeah, the moment y'all set up 5G towers over here is when we started developing the glioma. It ain't been a year yet, let alone a year and a half. It had to been around for a while before we even developed this cancer in the first goddamn place. So let this video be definitive proof that 5G is not the coronavirus. People, I'm sorry. COVID-19 is real. It's real. You're not going to tell me that every single hospital on planet Earth, in conjunction with the CDC and the World Health Organization and every other institution, and everybody involved in those parties are agreeing on this conspiracy. This is almost as ridiculous as flat Earth. The only reason why it's not as ridiculous as flat Earth because I know everybody isn't well versed in health and shit like that. So I'm not gonna call you flat earthers. That's just being mean. Okay. Well, come on. All right, but seriously, because this is real, because we dying out here, and that's why I felt the necessity to produce this video and to tell my people, especially, to take it serious. Don't think that these headlines talking about that it affects us the worst is a conspiracy and not real. It absolutely would. How can you think it wouldn't? If obesity is a factor, and America is the most obese country on the planet, and black people are the most obese people in the country, that makes us the most obese people on the planet. We also lead in all these pre-existing health conditions that make us high risk. And on top of that, we get neglected in the healthcare system. They don't give a fuck about us. They barely look at us as human. They barely look at us as human. Hell, y'all know about the Tuskegee experiment? Y'all just seen them goddamn crack-ass French doctors talking about let's start testing people in Africa because they're the highest risk. Even though France, these are French doctors now, and even though France was doing hundreds of times worse than Africa, but y'all got the nerve to say that they're fucking up down there? No, test that shit in your own goddamn country. Don't be testing Africa. What's wrong with y'all? So we are subject to people who think like that to care for our health if we go in these hospitals. So y'all think we ain't at the most highest risk? We definitely are. Are you kidding me? This is in conjunction with our own health issues. Not to mention, the reason why you even develop half these genetic expressions to catch these diseases in the first place is because of trauma we have growing up, which can be traced all the way back to slavery, but I don't even want to get that deep in this video right now. Point of the video is, 5G is not the coronavirus. Although 5G is not harmless, it's not the coronavirus. This is something to take seriously, and I'm not even telling you to say this to like stay your ass in the house. First of all, I'm trying to prevent you to go out doing something stupid like knocking down 5G towers. That's what's going to happen. They're going to lock your black ass up and rebuild the tower because that's just silly. Okay? But to further influence you to take your health seriously, because your best bet is your immune system. Pre-existing conditions and obesity make you more high risk. So the less obese you become, and the more we deal with our pre-existing health conditions, which is typically something like diabetes or hypertension, typically, these things can be reversed with whole food plant-based diet. Disclaimer, I'm not a medical professional and all of that. What I will say is this. I had hypertension and I was pre-diabetic. I started eating correctly. I'm no longer neither one of the two. That's what I'll say. Okay? That's what I'll say. Outside of that, what other choice do you have? It's not even a matter, it's almost a lost cause trying not to catch it. We got things to do. If you understand the power of like virality and exponential, like how things grow exponentially, you would say, man, avoiding this virus altogether is damn near impossible. So you're much better off building up your biological artillery to fight off the virus in the event that you do contract the virus. That's your best bet. If you had to get a meal plan from me to do so, then by all means hit me up. But We can't continue to eat the same foods and keep drinking and smoking and all of that, but we wearing the mask. Let's stop playing, man. Freedom over failure. R.I.P. Dr. Sabi, R.I.P. Dr. Africa.